My daughter
My brief interactions with Dina, I've come to appreciate her toughness. Let me give you a few examples. She graduated here at K-State with a dual degree in nutrition and kinesiology back when it was in the College of Arts and Sciences, so I know she's tough. I also hope everyone ate their vegetables and fruit today. She then went to Baker University where she received her BSN, or Bachelor of Science in Nursing, and worked here in the Memorial Hospital and medical surgical units, OBGYN. She's been at Mercy Regional, medical surgical, intensive care, orthopedic sports medicine. She's a tough individual. She is a tough individual who has raised, almost finished raising, the second young man who is about to become an Eagle Scout, I hope. The first one, many of you know, Nicholas Clark, who went a year or so ago over to the Air Force Academy, and he was also an Eagle Scout here in town. Nathan's going to be a senior at Manhattan High. She's a tough individual. She's married to Barry Clark. I don't think I need to say any more. Now, since 2012, she has taken on a new level of toughness. She's been working with the No Stone Unturned Foundation, about which we're going to hear today, and some of the projects they're in. And in 2013, she became the foundation's executive director. They started out small. They've had some amazing victories, and I'm really looking forward to what Dina Clark is going to share with us today about those victories. So, Dina?
Wow. I have to put my cheater readers here. Well, good afternoon, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here in front of the Rotary. I've lived in Manhattan since 1985, and part of the reason I love this town is because of clubs like this and organizations that take on special foundations and organizations and charities in our community and then share what they have to offer with us. So just thank you again for having me. Again, I'm from the No Stone Unturned Foundation. I am their executive director. I am one of 6 people who are just as passionate about what we do. We are a group of volunteers. Everyone on my board and everyone in the committee is a volunteer up to this point. We've been pretty judicious in our fundraising, and we think after this year there might be some paid positions, but that's not why we do what we do. Our motto is embracing, engaging, and empowering children with exceptional needs. And I'm just going to read really quickly our mission statement. The No Stone Unturned Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the support and research of children with health initiatives and or disabilities in their families. Our foundation was incorporated in 2008 by San Francisco 49ers assistant offensive line coach Eric Wolford and his wife Dr. Melinda Wolford. They were inspired by their son Stone, thus the name No Stone Unturned. He was diagnosed at 2 years of age with a cardiofasciocutaneous syndrome that's a very rare and kind of underserved genetic syndrome. In light of the ongoing increase in identification of developmental and neurological disorders and mental health needs, No Stone Unturned was established with 3 goals in mind. We wanted to provide support for individuals, their families, and others touched by developmental disabilities, debilitating disorders, and mental health needs. Secondly, we wanted to raise awareness by providing information and training to the public, the medical community, and school systems. And third, to support current and aggressive research that will enhance the lives of children with various exceptional developmental, genetic, and mental health needs. No Stone Unturned, after many fundraisers, and some of you are familiar to me and I'm familiar to you because of an event that we do every year called Wildcats for Charity. It's our one big fundraiser of the year. It's put on at the Alumni Center. We have Coach Snyder and several former Wildcats that come back, and they've come on board because of Eric. He was a former K-State football player who considered K-State always his home. The guy travels all around the country and has been in every neck of the woods and is currently in San Francisco, but always considered Manhattan home. And so he came back to Manhattan, started raising a little bit of money every year, and from that we started the foundation in 2008, and we have grown to today. We now have under our umbrella the Therapeutic Learning Center, which is in Medical Arts Building A, and Katie's Way, which we've also taken on this past year. So, like I was saying, under our umbrella, or under No Stone Unturned Foundation, we have the No Stone Unturned TLC, we call it, but it's the Therapeutic Learning Center. It opened in January of 2013. It occupies nearly 5,800 square feet of treatment space in the Medical Arts Building A. The center has grown exponentially with client needs and has expanded as much as possible in the current location. We are out of space, as they say, at the current place and are seeking alternative locations with about 9,000 square feet within the medical arts facility. We serve over 270 kids and their families who typically receive multiple services at our TLC. Our therapists handle more than 2,030 visits per month in that 5,800 square feet of space. Our professional staff started with 2. We are now to 31 employees. We have 4 occupational therapists, including a feeding specialist and sensory integration person. We have 5 speech therapists, including swallowing specialists. We have 2 physical therapists. We have 4 applied behavioral analysis therapists, and 2, including autism specialists. We currently have a wait list at the Therapeutic Learning Center of 42 children who are awaiting occupational and other therapies. We also have over 40 families within this community who have unfulfilled requests for scholarships or financial assistance with their treatments. And that's something that we're working diligently on currently to try and help those families. We became a certified autism diagnostic testing center in June of 2014 with a partnership with KU Medical Center. And we work with them to provide autism diagnostic testing via telemedicine. Part of the reason that is important is because families with children with those specific needs with the label autism can't qualify for insurance unless their child has actually been diagnosed and given that label, for a better word. And so these families have to wait on a waiting list in order to get treatment for their children. And we are one of the 4 facilities in Kansas that provides those services, and our waiting list is only 6 months. Most of them are a year, and we don't feel like that's good enough. So we're trying to make that different. We have 26 children right now on our waiting list, and we're booking kids for the testing up into April of 2017. And just on a small note, we are currently seeking 2 more occupational therapists. So if you have a son or a daughter or a son-in-law or a daughter-in-law or someone you know that is looking for a job in Manhattan, it's a great place to live, and we would take very good care of them. Again, under our umbrella is Katie's Way. Katie's Way opened in March of 2015. It provides psychiatric and psychological services to young people and their families who reside in the Manhattan community and surrounding areas. Our highly qualified staff specialize in working with children, adolescents, and young adults. Katie's Way continues to be overwhelmed with the need in our community. We have over 4,000 visits in this last year, and we are acutely aware of taking steps to grow our services. We've expanded our facility to add more offices. We are actively searching to expand our highly qualified team, but we also have a waiting list, and we don't feel like that's good enough. The No Stone Unturned Foundation has a big vision, and we partnered to provide these services to children and families. As a nonprofit entity, we entered into a professional service agreement with Jeff Mathis. I think many of you probably know him, Mathis Rehabilitation Center, to realize our mission. He came on board with us and told us there's no money in a TLC. It'll never go in this community. It kind of drug his feet a little bit, and we begged him to become our service provider, and he took it on. So he helped us realize our mission to provide those services that were not available and many times were unaffordable for families. As our contract service provider, Mathis Rehab continues to provide the services that directly define our mission. No Stone and Mathis Rehabilitation passion is inspired through personal loss and tragedy, and that brings us to Katie's Way. So Jeff had lost his daughter, Katie, came to us and said, I've helped you start this special needs program. I need your help with mental health. And we opened Katie's Way. Over the past 4 years, No Stone Unturned Foundation, the mission statement has evolved due to overwhelming response from families. With the increasing demand for services, it is clear that our community needs support for children and their families with disabilities and mental health issues. We primarily see patients in the Riley County and Fort Riley communities, but we also draw from 15 surrounding counties. We strive to provide these collaborative, team-based services for children from infancy to 26 years old, regardless of their ability to pay. Our foundation is an aggressive mission to build a wellness campus in Manhattan. We are currently under contract to purchase over 11 acres of property kind of on the west side of town by the roundabout, with the intention of creating a central location for these many needed services. We have spent many hours diligently planning the campus with the aspiration of designing a location of hope for these exceptional children and their families. I do have a quick little video I'd like to share with you. If you've been to our event and our fundraiser, it'll be a repetition, but I think it's important because I want to show you kind of the broad base that the Therapeutic Learning Center handles, and this is one of 5 songs.
During August, goes to No Stone. She was diagnosed with a rare neurological condition called polymicrogyria when she was about 3 months of age.
I'm Dina. My son is Daniel. He will be 3 next week, actually. He's been going there for over 1.5 years. He's diagnosed with autism and pica.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sophia. I have a child who is 8 years old who is diagnosed with moderate autism. He's currently coming to No Stone 5 days a week.
My name is Kenyatta Harris. I have 3 kids with autism. Jackson is 6, Kevin's 11, and Taylor's 15.
My name is Misty. My son Charles, he's 11. He's been coming to No Stone Unturned for about 2 years now. And we actually started coming here because the services he was getting in school really wasn't providing him enough that I felt that he was being able to strive and, I guess, basically make it through the way that I felt he should be.
Sometimes we come in for different types of therapy, with occupational therapy to help with activities of daily living in the mornings, and then in the afternoons we work on social group.
He's in speech, occupational therapy, and ABA.
He sees Christina for feeding and OT. He sees Katie and Sarah for ABA.
And Madeline receives quite a bit of services here. She has physical therapy, occupational therapy,
OT and speech, and then we eventually were able to add physical therapy and some ABA services along with feeding therapy.
speech therapy, and then she also gets solid therapy. So we are here about 4 days a week.
He sees everybody. He sees everybody here. He comes for ABA, speech, PT, OT. We were driving to Kansas City. We were going to Lawrence a couple of times a week for therapy. We've really been happy here. All my kids have all gotten therapy in different places. My husband's in the military, so we've been in lots of different places, and I have to say this is the best services we received for therapy.
They told us the closest place for Maddie would have been Topeka, and there was no way with 2 other children on top of Madeline that we could have made that commute, especially 4 days out of the week.
I like how everybody works together. You have all the therapists works together to see, what's the best treatment plan for, that particular child. So I love that. I've never been anywhere where we've had everybody in the same center.
I can't say anything bad. Everything I have to say about this center is excellent. And we are very fortunate to have a place like this in Manhattan, Kansas. I'm going to get emotional about all the changes that I have seen in my son. And
He's a completely different kid since he started coming here.
He's happier, he's healthier.
Madeline has thrived
Jackson, when he first started coming, he was eating blended up baby foods, like step 3 baby foods. Now he's moved on to solid foods. He's made tremendous progress.
People come up and say, people I don't even know, they'll say, wow, you know, what's happened to Mario, you know, I can't believe the change in him, and I know it's because of all the therapy and things that he's getting here at No Stone.
And when we started occupational and ABA, he is a completely different kid. He makes eye contact now, he points, he has started talking again, which has been amazing. I don't even know how to explain how different he is.
With the help of a device called an SP, she's actually took her first steps here, and the staff here is amazing. They are like family to us. We see them so much. I feel like we see them more than our family. So
People just have no idea how much it impacts your daily living as a family and the things that you can do.
My mom came to visit this summer, and she sees tremendous progress with him here.
Last year, my son wouldn't let us touch his head. We couldn't clean his ears, cut his hair, give him a bath, couldn't get him in your water. Now, he loves the bathtub. He's still not ruled out about getting his hair cut.
We had a chance of him actually making it on his own without constant help or assistance has been amazing just over the last couple of years.
Just seeing other people's children out there that are nonverbal and hearing them say mom or hi, and they've never spoken a word before. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, did he just say what I thought he said? You know, so it's wonderful, not only for my child, but seeing other kids, how their lives are being impacted daily as well.
We love it here, and everyone's awesome. Everybody in the office, they're great. Everybody's friendly.
We're very fortunate here in Manhattan to have all the people that work here in this center, so it's a great place.
it's been a huge blessing for Madeline. I don't feel like emotionally, physically, mentally, we would be where we are today. She would be where she is today if it hasn't been for them here.
I love it here, and if I would tell my friends if they need anything to try to come here, because I don't think if we didn't have No Stone, I don't know how Daniel would be. It's amazing, the progress he's made in just the last year. We've still got 2 more years till kindergarten, so I can't wait to see what we have ahead of us.
Along with that, how it's changed our lives has been more than I expected. Without No Stone at Unturned, I'm not for sure where we would be, and that's scary to think. And they gave me hope, and that's all I could ask for. They gave me hope.
Well, that's 5 families out of 270 that we see. And if I had a video in Katie's way, I think it would bring the room to tears. Well, I get phone calls daily from people that are in crisis, with family members that have mental health issues. In fact, I had one yesterday. And unfortunately, right now, if there's a crisis in a family member's life, and they decide that they maybe want to try to end their life, or they're not doing so well, right now they don't stay in Manhattan, Kansas. They get shipped off to Atchison, Topeka, Wichita, Kansas City, and oftentimes they're separated from their families while they get them stabilized and out of the crisis. And that happened yesterday. I got a phone call, and I got a call and say, Jeff Mathis, we want a crisis center in Manhattan, Kansas. We want a wellness campus in Manhattan, Kansas. We want a bigger learning center in Manhattan, Kansas. And I'm just thankful for you letting me speak today, hearing a little bit of what we do every day. Thank you so much. Yeah, sure.
We got time for questions if anybody.
I did e-brochures of kind of what the Therapeutic Learning Center does in town, and also Katie's Way brochure. We have a website that can answer quite a bit of your questions maybe, but I'm happy to answer anything also.
Dina, how many employees do you have there?
At the Learning Center?
Yes.
We have 31. Of those, 22 are therapists. Some are part-time. We have 16 full-time therapists at the Learning Center. And then on staff at Katie's Way, we have 5 professional staff, and we're trying to hire 2 more psychiatrists.
I just might add, we have personnel at the bank that
Personally.
tell me that if this wasn't here, they would have to move. They're very, very, they think programs.
Yeah, we've had several
Clean
families
girls, yeah.
that we're going to Topeka, Kansas City, Wichita. The autism diagnostic testing, literally, it's huge that we have that in this town. They would be in Wichita, they would be in Kansas City, and right now there's a year-long waiting list to just get your child tested for that quote-unquote label so that then they can afford or they can qualify for insurance. So,
Thanks for all that you're doing. I wondered what the age ranges are for the clients of both Katie's Way and
that's a great question.
those
So,
down, and what happens to those who age out?
let me answer one at a time. So the Therapeutic Learning Center, we see infants to 18. Katie's Way, we see 2 to 26. And we've been approached by Fort Riley, we've been approached by Pawnee Mental Health to take on 26 and beyond and to take on PTSD. And we're trying to get our arms around it all because we want to try and help that too. So, good question. Any other questions?
I know you're trying to recruit more professionals and everything. We all love Manhattan, but do you have a problem recruiting people to Manhattan?
No, actually, you know what? It's funny. It's either there's a family connection to K-State, so they obviously want to come back. There's a family connection with Fort Riley. It's getting easier, believe it or not. We unfortunately we tried to hire out a psychiatrist that ended up getting hired on at Pawnee Mental Health. We don't mind that. So we brought him into town. He fell in love with Manhattan, and he went to Pawnee Mental Health, but that's okay. We feel like they stay because it's a great community. I've been here since 1985. I wouldn't want to leave. So.
Steve,
Oh, sorry.
How is insurance or the government, or how does this get paid for? I mean, I know you have to raise funds, privately for a bunch of this, but then
Sure.
treatment-wise and stuff, how's that happen?
Well, it's depending on the insurance company, it's amazing. Fort Riley has TRICARE, and they're actually one of the better paying insurance companies. They tend to give you more of the services that they need as far as, like, they don't limit the numbers that you can have. They give you a little broader range. One of the big things that we're doing this year is our push is with the money that we've raised this year from our event is not only securing this land for our future campus, but also we're going to do a bunch of support groups and outreach in the community. We're going to do some seminars and continuing education for families. We're going to collaborate a lot with K-State and the school systems, and we're working on some focus groups for research. But scholarships is a huge one because there's a lot of families that, even well-heeled families, that are overwhelmed by the costs. And there's a huge write-off, but there's a point where you can't write everything off. So we're kind of in a weird catch right now. Good question. Yes, sir.
Does the state provide any kind of financial assistance to these programs?
Limited. We apply. There's so many people that are applying that it seems like it's mostly privately funding that is helping us the greatest because of the competition. But part of we're in a new era here now because once we own land and build a building, we qualify for so much more than what because currently we rent and those things. But once we buy this campus and build this building, the doors kind of come wide open for us. So we're in a little bit of a baby step phase right now, but it's a great question. There's so many people like us in the state that are also applying for those same funds that they're very limited. Yes,
Two questions. One, if you had no waiting list for any program, what kind of staff would you need, and could you provide it? Could you get them? And two, if you had no waiting list, what kind of money are you talking about?
What kind of money? First question, we should probably, when I went to an architect and told him all the services that we provided in our current facility, which is 5,800 square feet, he told us we should be in a 14,000 square foot building. We just want 9,000 square feet. Right now, we want to move into some other portion of the medical arts building and hire 2 more therapists, and we would get rid of our waiting list. Second question,
The
remind me?
second is, could you staff it if you had the money? Could you staff it?
We could.
Okay?
We
And
could.
two, what kind of money we talking about? If you had nobody to spray it.
To pay that staff?
Yeah,
To-
right, to opt the function. What was your operating budget be here?
Operating budget, we actually just pulled one. We are very judicious in how we spend our money. Obviously, my staff that works at the Learning Center in Katie's Way, they are all compensated from insurance and from our service provider. The foundation itself, we run on a pretty shoestring budget. Again, no salaries at this point, but that's not why any of us got involved. They are self-sufficient. The TLC is
But
self-sufficient.
the question is,
Yeah.
what would your financial needs be if you had no waiting list for immediate service?
For the
A
TLC or
year,
for the,
what would you need a year?
for the foundation?
For the foundation?
About $65,000.
$65,000 a year?
Just to pay, well, no, I'm sorry. For staffing, yes. For operational costs, probably about $150,000. That's what we
Okay,
do.
$210,000,
Mhm.
what you need is you have no waiting list for anything,
Correct,
and you can staff it.
correct.
That's the figure you need.
Yeah. But growing. Yes, ma'am.
Can I just say, we have a mental health task force in Katie's Way, and you all have been working with us. But of course, the state cuts have been drastic and dire. And of course, Potawatomi is no longer, being Medicaid funds. And so we really have no place to put people. And we also are investing in 2 staff to work with the police next year because we have mental health issues. So this is really dire in Kansas, and the cuts to Pawnee have been, they just laid off 8 people because of the cuts to the home health.
Right. That police aspect is huge because that's a new thing that they haven't been trained to do this, and they're seeing more and more calls that are just literally crisis mental health